there's a lot of questions here about certain diseases, AFib and tinnitus. And I can only say that every one of these, I'm trying to get away from treating illnesses and to think about what happened to this individual person. What is their story? I was reading a interesting book somebody sent me about German New Medicine and how they think. And just to give you an example of the complexity of illness, and again, this isn't something that I can prove, but they were talking about, it's basically what happens is a change in your consciousness. That's the first. So this person who's a psychotherapist has been working with a lot of people, and he was very surprised how strongly they believe in their doctors and in the workings of conventional medicine. You all know people like that. There's nothing you can do to shake them from that belief. They just believe the doctors. The doctor says they should do this, and that's what they do. And you can say whatever you want to that person. You can give them whatever facts you want, and nothing will change their mind. And he decided to look into the history of people like that. And over again, he found, interestingly, that many of them, I don't know about all of them, had some sort of situation at birth. And whether it's accurate or not, but the story that they were told and that have lived with all their life is that the doctor at their birth saved their life because their heart rate fell and they couldn't get them out. So they did an emergency C-section, or they had a cord wrapped around their neck and they were going to be strangled. And luckily the doctor got them out just in time, or they would have been dead. And so there, you hear these stories over and over. The story that they were told, the story that they live with is, thanks God, the doctor acted at the time and saved my life. And that creates a sort of conscious situation where, an unconscious situation where from then on, now it doesn't even matter whether that's accurate, right? It doesn't matter whether the reason why you were stuck in the birth canal was because of the fear and everything else that shouldn't have happened at the birth but did. That's not the point. The point is, you're living with a story that says, doctors saved my life. If I don't let the doctors save my life, I'm a dead person. So, and you don't know where that story came from. And again, it could or could not have been accurate in that original story. It doesn't actually matter, because that's the story you live with. So now you're 70 and the doctor says, if you don't take this injection, you're going to die. And you believe him, because you're essentially, the way I would put it is, your water framework, your consciousness has been organized around the thought, the idea that if I don't listen to the doctors, I'm dead. And you don't know where that came from. And so any attempt to consciously talk you out of that sends off signals that if I don't listen to this person, I'm dead. You can say whatever you want, but that is my reality. If I don't listen, I'm dead. So you do it. And that's why it's so frustrating. And I'm also have been, I'm sure you've seen, I've described this. It is a kind of self-hypnosis. It's kind of like being in a cult. You have this deeply held belief that was from a pre-conscious time in your life. You don't even know where it came from. Nobody told you it was because of your birth situation or because of something that happened when you were 1 or 2 or 3 or 8 or something. But you know on some level that this is your reality, this is your truth, and you cannot live unless you basically follow this truth. I think if we see it like that, that it's all part of a sense of maybe compassion, because we can then give up, in a sense, trying to talk the person out of it. They can't be talked out of it because they think they will die. Now, so the question is, how do you escape from that matrix? And I'm not sure that I know the answer to that, except maybe to have the point out to the person as a sort of question. Can you possibly see where this came from? And if you can see it and then transform it, and as Stefan said, and the proof is when you can actually laugh about it and realize that which may or may not have been true when you were born or 1 has no relevance to whether you should have an injection when you're 70. Then you can be free of that, and then you will probably have an elimination, which is the way you detox from that, and you rechange your water structure into a more perfect form, and you can get on with your life.